Shalom. Shalom. There we go. We are live.
This morning, we have new details emerging about the suspect accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Investigators are adjusting what they said earlier. They now believe he took a different route out of New York City to evade police, and there's no indication he was ever insured by the company. Jared Hill has more on this.
This morning, police say they have new information on how the man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO got out of New York. Investigators believe Luigi Mangione rode a bike through Central Park after allegedly killing Brian Thompson, then took a cab to a major bus terminal in Upper Manhattan just to go back downtown, possibly taking the subway to New York's Penn Station. From there, investigators question whether Mangione fled to Pennsylvania by train. Authorities also say they found evidence that Mangione knew United Healthcare was hosting its investor conference in New York before the shooting, and that while there's no indication Mangione was ever insured by the company, United Healthcare and its CEO may have been targeted because of its status as the nation's biggest health insurer. It all comes as CBS News has learned the Manhattan DA's office has begun presenting evidence to a grand jury in order to get him back to New York.
I trust the DA here in Manhattan to make sure that he puts forth an indictment that is going to be ironclad.
Investigators say when Mangione was arrested, he had a spiral notebook with him where he wrote about considering using a bomb over a gun, and he had a 3D printed firearm that police say matched the shell casings found at the murder scene. Police also say his fingerprints were found on items near the scene. Mangione is currently being held in a maximum security prison in Pennsylvania, fighting extradition.
It just gives them more time to prepare their defense.
A hearing has been set for December 30th. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Joining us for more analysis on all of this is Kirk Burkhalter. You'll recognize him. He's a former detective with the NYPD, a professor of law at the New York Law School, and a friend of the network, helping us understand cases like this. And Kirk, there's so much attention on what this man is suspected to have done. As a former detective, why are these latest details about the spiral notebook and this odd route out of New York so important for prosecutors?
So first, good morning. And they're important for two reasons. First and foremost, juries like to hear all the loose ends tied up. So if there's information out there, what the motivation was, for instance, and how did he arrive at the scene of the crime and egress from the scene of the crime, if those factors are not explained, juries, I won't say they would acquit, but they certainly feel more comfortable with all the loose ends tied up. They do not necessarily go to the elements of the crime. The prosecution's not obligated to prove motive. However, it's helpful. The other way that this is important is in case, which is likely here, the defendant claims for some reason that he's not guilty by reason of insanity. He would have to prove that at the time of the crime, by reason of mental disease or defect, he didn't understand the nature and consequences of his actions or that they were wrong. Planning the crime and planning the escape from the crime tends to show that he knew what was wrong. And further, this information from the notebook that he didn't want to harm others, he had a specific target here in New York, tends to show that he understood the nature and consequences of his actions. So all this information is actually extremely important with regards to the Manhattan District Attorney building a case against him.
You make a really interesting point as you speak about the state of his mind and the potential insanity plea, because unlike many other murder cases, there is a red hot spotlight on this, with people even supporting the suspect, wanting to raise money to defend him. Help us understand, as someone who is a professor of law, how his state of mind will be central to a grand jury, either, passing down more charges or saying maybe it's someone else.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, it's just incredibly basic that the state of mind always factors into any crime. That is one of the elements the prosecution's obligated to prove by due process of law. And in this case, that's the mens rea. It is intent. Now, I mentioned that, for instance, motive is not an element of the crime, but motive can be used to prove intent. It's kind of rare. People say, I intend to do something. So quite often intent is proved by circumstances and facts and so forth. And perhaps at some point he may claim that he did not have the intent. So his state of mind is incredibly important. And it's also important with regards to his ability to stand trial and mount a defense. And as I mentioned, should he plead not guilty by reason of insanity, which is certainly a possibility here.
All right. This is why we call on you, Kirk Burkhalter. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. We appreciate it.
All right. This is let's get the scripture before we open up here. All right, this is the book of Ezekiel. And we'll start at verse 10 here. All right, Ezekiel 7 and verse 10. And it reads, it says, behold the day, behold, it is come. The morning is gone forth, the rod hath blossomed, pride hath budded. The point, verse 11. Violence is risen up into a rod of wickedness. None of them shall remain, nor of their multitude, nor of any of theirs. Neither shall there be wailing from them. Verse 12, it says, the time is come, the day draweth near. Let not the buyer rejoice, nor the seller mourn, for wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. All right, Shalom. Before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. And double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring in the house of David, the elect, that's pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers, and shalom to the elect. I'm back with another live lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakah Quadash. I pray that this lesson is edifying and exhorting to the hopeful elect out there. Now, I want to get into this thing because we pay attention to everything that's going on in the news around the world. All right. And, we always quote the scripture that we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. All right. So I just want to go into this lesson, which is entitled, this is another news and prophecy, fanning the flames of violence. Right. Matter of fact, let's get that. Fanning the flames. Okay. I looked up the meaning here. So it says fan the flames, redirected from fanning the flames, because this is what Esau is doing right now. It says fan the flames. It says to do or say something to make an argument, problem, or a bad situation worse. To further incense an already angry person or group of people. So this is what is going on. All right. They're playing off the people's emotions. And these things have been set up to bring forth societal disaster. All right. And I want to get into that here. All right. Because this shit is really about to hit the fan, like we've been warning you day in and day out. All right. So let's go back to this article here, which caught my attention earlier. So this is from thefederalist.com. The header, it reads, it says, as Americans' tolerance for wokeness dies, the left's appetite for violence only grows. Okay. So as you see, they're pinning this all on the so-called left. All right. But really it's both sides, man. Both sides are playing into this narrative here that's going to only bring, civil war. Okay. It's going to bring more violence, more anger upon these people, man, to the point where total hell is going to break loose out here as we see it coming. So again, as Americans' tolerance for wokeness dies, the left's appetite for violence only grows, right? Dealing with this guy, Luigi, that shot the United Healthcare CEO, right? So this is the guy, okay? So it says Americans in general want a return to law and order, but the left wants the blood of his enemies. You see that? So this is what they pushing. All right. It says, read it on here. It says, it feels like an inflection point. The acquittal of Daniel Penny happened on the same day as the arrest of the accused murderer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Right. So that's not a coincidence, man. All right. It's a lot of shit that's been happening, as we told you, Diddy and Jay-Z, all right, being accused of graping, a 13-year-old. All right. You got this guy Daniel Penny being acquitted. And there was an article that came out, I think, what's his name? DeSantos, whatever his name is. He wants him to go to Florida to get his life back. Like they want to fly him down to Florida. So really, like, you got a lot of Jake on the internet mad as hell. All right, complaining about, this is who y'all voted for and all this shit, dealing with Trump and, Esau being riled up, that good old American spirit being riled up back in Esau again. So it's a lot of shit going on, man. All right. Trump dealing with the using the military force for deportation, which I got another article, which we'll get into that a little later. Right. But anyway, back in the read, it says it feels like an inflection point. The acquittal of Daniel Penny happened on the same day as the arrest of the accused murderer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Let me get a quick scripture. All right, just thinking out loud. Bear with me 1 second. All right, that's Zechariah 11. Right, Zechariah 11:5. All right, this is the book of Zechariah 11:5. It says, whose possessors slay them. Who are the possessors? The Edomites. All right, we're still underneath. We're still underneath the subjection of the Edomite. All right. He would be the possessor. All right. Whose possessors slay them. Who's them? You Israelites. Okay. You so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. All right. This is why Esau can kill you and gun you down on camera. All right. And get off scot-free. All right. Get a GoFundMe, get endorsements. Okay, he's not bound by his own laws. You see, and what's heavy too? What is Trump trying to push? He's trying to push for police to have immunity. All right. So, like we've been warning you, 2025 is about to be off the fucking chain. All right, you ain't seen nothing yet. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. See, this is the prophecy. This is why he continues to get away. He gets a slap on the wrist. Right? Esau can have a whole, trafficking ring. He can do all of this PEDO shit. And what do? They get a slap on the wrist. Catholic Church. All right. Abusing all these children. All right. All they got to do is kick out a little bit of hush money and it just goes away. All right. All these pastors in these Christian churches, these fucking weirdos. Right? And hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. So that's the point, man. Okay, Esau is in his he's in his power right now, man. Okay, he has that immunity, if you will. Okay, he's not going to be charged. You see, this is why we have to continue to be patient and wait for Yahweh Shemel Shai to bring true justice. Right? Romans 12:17. All right. Romans 12:19. The point. And it reads, it says, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai. So the Lord's going to repay Esau. We just got to be patient and continue to endure this hell that we in, man. All right. But anyway, let's get back to the article here. Right. So back in the article again, it feels like an inflection point. The acquittal of Daniel Penny happened on the same day as the arrest of the accused murderer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. It says Penny being found not guilty as a how you say that word, predation of the anarcho tyranny the left has been imposing since Black Lives Matter riots of 2020. It says, despite last-minute shenanigans from the prosecution, the jury understood that Penny's restraint of a violent, threatened felon on the subway was justified. The verdict, and these Edomites, they're cheering it on. Pretty much they're rubbing this shit back in Jake's face, which is stirring the pot. All right. This is why these things has happened. Like I said, the acquittal of Daniel Penny and the accused murderer of the United Healthcare CEO happened during the same day, same time. Right. It says the verdict is an indication that people, even in liberal New York City, have had enough of rioting, defunding the police, and soft on crime prosecutors who let criminals walk while locking up those who dare to defend themselves and others, right? So you see what's going on. Let's read a little bit more. We'll grab some more articles and scriptures. It says, but as the public sours on woke leftism in general, in its approach to crime and public safety in particular, committed leftists may respond by becoming more radical and violent. You see that? That's the narrative that they're pushing now. All right, but it's all prophecy anyway. It says committed leftists may respond by becoming more radical and violent, as we read in Ezekiel the 7th chapter. All right, it was Ezekiel 7:11. It says violence is risen up into a rod of wickedness. People are tired. People are pissed off. Okay, it says just look at the left's glee at the murder of Thompson. Okay, and this guy has been getting like shout outs. They've been bigging him up. They're basically being celebrating this guy for what he did. Okay, because right here, let me pull it up. Right. Here's the article, just going into what I was talking about. This guy named Luigi Mangione obsession reveals a dangerous trend that threatens our world. All right. And like we were saying, people are tired of the corruption that's going on here throughout America. Look what's going on, man. All right. The trafficking, this wild shit that's going on in Hollywood and all of that, the corruption in the healthcare department, industry. All right. People being fucked over because they don't have the money, the insurance. All right. People are just tired. All right. I'm just going to read this quick point. We'll get back to that last part of the article. It says, Luigi Mangione has inspired many comparisons since United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was shot dead in New York City. Right. Let me jump down because they're pretty much celebrating the guy. Bear with me. All right. It's all in the news. It says, at the heart of this is a deeply ingrained mistrust of authority and the establishment, she said. When a figure like Brian Thompson, who symbolized corporate power and profit, meets a violent end, it becomes less about the crime and more about what happened. It says, jumping down, it says over the past few decades, many individuals have felt increasingly disenfranchised, unable to reconcile their lived experiences with a system that perceives as rigged against them. All right. And this is how a majority of people feel. And this is what the people are tired of. It says people are projecting their frustrations onto his killer, romanticizing them as a champion of the oppressed, you see, regardless of the morality of their actions. So like I said, they're praising this guy, which is becoming a problem to the so-called right. This is why we're reading this article about how the left is prepared to pretty much take on violence, right? So let's go back and read one more paragraph here in this article. All right, so reading that again, it says, but as the public sours on woke leftism in general in its approach to crime and public safety in particular, committed leftists may respond by becoming more radical and violent. Just look at the left's glee at the murder of Thompson. It says, caveat to apply, of course, the Penny acquittal was the right outcome, but the case should never have been brought. The process is still a punishment, and being found not guilty may not end all of Penny's legal troubles. Likewise, the man arrested for the murder of Brian Thompson seems to have been until recently more of an ideological hodgepodge than a committed leftist. His radicalization seems to have been sudden, and so it is arguable that neither case is indicative of any larger shifts. And yet, all right, so you can read the rest, all right, but you see clearly where America is going right now, man. Okay, blood is about to be shed throughout these streets here, man. This is real quick. Let's get Isaiah. Okay, Isaiah 19:2, straight to the point. It says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians." Right, you Americans versus Americans. He says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." So this is the beginning of this. All right. This is them once again fanning the flames of violence. All right. They're stirring the pot. They're playing on the emotions of these people. It's going to get worse. This is what we're telling you, man. You can see it. Right? Let's add some more, because like we told you a couple years ago, let me pull this out, because they said everything in this article here. This is how you know it's all going down. Let me pull this article up real fast. Where's it at? Here we go. All right. I always bring this article out dealing with Civil War and societal division, because this is what they were saying. This is back in the Guardian. It says, these are the conditions right for political violence. How close is the U.S. to civil war? Right? So let's just go down and read a little bit more, because I always read this paragraph here. Here's the point. It says, let's highlight it again. All right? Because we're going to keep reminding you over and over. All right? It's going down according to the plan, man. All right? It says, if a second civil war breaks out in the U.S., it will be a guerrilla war fought by multiple small militias spread around the country. The targets will be civilians, mainly minority groups, opposition leaders, and federal employees. It says judges will be assassinated. Now, before I finish the read, and we're going to come back to this, it says judges will be assassinated. Now, this came out in the Charlotte Observer, right? Now, check this out. Now, is this a coincidence? It says violence against judges is on the rise. Proposed protections are needed now. You see that? This came out December 12th, 2 days ago. All right. Violence against judges are on the rise, man. Like I said, people are tired. People are tired of all this fucking corruption, man. All right. This wickedness in this man's system. All right. So now people like we read the article. Hey, the so-called left is out for blood. This is prophecy, man. It's about to get crucial out here, man. But anyway, we'll come back to this. Let's read some more and make this point. All right. So back in the article again, it says mainly minority groups, opposition leaders, and federal employees, judges will be assassinated. Democrats and moderate Republicans will be jailed on bogus charges. Black churches, you see, black churches and synagogues bombed, pedestrians picked off by snipers in city streets. Federal agents threatened with death should they enforce federal law. The goal will be to reduce the strength of the federal government and those who support it, while also intimidating minority groups and political opponents into submission, man. All right, it's about to get wild as we approach this 2025, right? And I just want to read a little bit more. Let's jump down, get to the point. So it says the U.S. is not yet in the Civil War, but a 2012 declassified report by the CIA on insurgencies outlines the signs. According to the report, the country is experiencing an open insurgency when sustained violence by increasingly active extremists has become the norm. All right, like the guy Luigi, right? It says, you know, and the narrative is what, that people are becoming weaponized through radicalization through videos on the internet. All right, so who do you think they're talking about, right? It says, by this point, violent extremists are using sophisticated weapons such as improvised explosive devices and begin to attack vital infrastructure such as hospitals, bridges, and schools. Rather than just individuals, these attacks also involve a large number of fighters, some whom have combat experience. There is often evidence, according to the report, quote, of insurgent penetration and subversion of the military, police, and intelligence services. It says, in this early stage of civil war, extremists are trying to force the population to choose sides. See, playing into that division, in part by demonstrating to citizens that the government cannot keep them safe or provide basic necessities, right? Which is true. Okay, people are becoming more and more aware that this system doesn't have their best interests at heart. All right, people around America are complaining. All right, they're angry as fuck. All right, they're ready to take matters into their own hands. It says the goal is to incite a broader civil war by denigrating the state and growing support for violent measures, and people are with it. Okay, people are with the shits, man. Okay, people are with the violence, man. That's the point that we are entering into right now. All right, and I'm gonna grab some more scriptures. Just bear with me because there's a lot of stuff here, man. But we see it coming. All right, Proverbs. Let me get that. Proverbs 22. All right, Proverbs 22 and verse 3. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Right. So we're paying attention to every goddamn thing, man. We see how this thing is going to play out. They're letting you know in your face how this thing is going down. All right. So if you don't know, or if you want to pretend like you don't see it, hey, you're gonna get caught up in the crossfire. It is what it is. Right. So let's go back and I'll finish a little bit more. And y'all bear with me, you know, it's a lot to read. Excuse me. But going back to the read, okay. It says, let's see. Let's read this, excuse me. Let's read this last paragraph here, and then we'll move on. But it says Civil War experts know that two factors put countries at high risk of civil war. The U.S. has one of these risk factors and remains dangerously close to the second. Neither risk factor has diminished since 6th of January. The first is ethnic factionalism. This happens when citizens in a country organize themselves into political parties based on ethnic, religious, or racial identity, right? Rather than ideology. The second is anocracy. This is when a government is neither fully democratic nor fully autocratic. It is something in between. Civil wars almost never happen in full, healthy, strong democracies, which America is not that. They also seldom happen in full autocracies. Violence almost always breaks out in countries in the middle, those with weak and unstable pseudo democracies like Babylon, like America. Anocracy plus factionalism is a dangerous mix. All right. And it says we also know who tends to start civil wars, especially those fought between different ethnic, religious, and racial groups. Right. And all these things are bumping heads. All these things All these factors are clashing right now. All right. Your political beliefs. All right. Your so-called religious beliefs. All right. It's all happening right now. All right. It says this also does not bode well for the U.S. The groups that tend to resort to violence are not the poorest groups or the most downtrodden. It is the group that had once been politically dominant but losing its power. So this is code here, man. Right? Read this again. It says it's not the people who resort to violence, not the poorest groups or the most downtrodden. It says it's the group that had once been politically dominant but is losing its power. What group is that? All right, it's the group of the Edomites. All right, you damn white people, man. Okay, they're the ones that's organizing this what you would call hate and all of this shit, man. See, they're trying to spin it and push it on us, but they're the ones that's pushing for the violence and the guns. They're the ones that's ready to take America back by force. You see, it says it's the loss of political status. You see, a sense of resentment that they are being replaced and that the identity of their country is no longer theirs. Boom. That's what it is. That tends to motivate these groups to organize. This is why we said, look, we've been warning you, Jakes, forever that you got these militia groups, you got these retired military personnel, these cops, all right, these deputized Edomites, whatever. They're all organizing to bring forth hell out here, man. The feds, all right, all the alphabetical federal groups, they're all in it, man. You see, it says today the Republican Party and its base of white Christian voters are losing their dominant position in American politics and society as a result of demographic changes. All right, Esau is hurt, man. Okay, whites are the slowest growing demographic in the U.S. and will no longer be the majority of the population around 2044. Now this all makes sense. Their status will continue to decline as America becomes more multi-ethnic. All right, it's too many niggas now. All right, it's too many black and brown people now, man. It says their status will continue to decline as America becomes more multi-ethnic, multiracial, and multi-religious. And the result will be increasing resentment and fear at what lies ahead, right? Because Esau is going to be out of there. They know this. That's the resentment and fear. The people who stormed the Capitol on 6th of January believed that they were saving America from this future and felt fully justified in this fight. You see what I'm saying? So these Edomites are justifying their actions, man. Okay? And this guy, Trump, okay, he's part of what? Of fanning those flames. So anyway, that was a long read, Salakia, but that had to come out, man. All right, let's get a scripture here. All right, let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 15 in the Good News translation, straight to the point. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 in the Good News translation, and it reads, it says, the world and the people in it are doomed. Verse 15, it says, 2nd Ezra 15, verse 15, GNT, it says, the war that will bring their destruction is very near on all fronts. All right, Civil War and World War III. Okay, the war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. This is happening. There will be great political turmoil. See, as we just read in that article, dealing with how these Edomites truly feel about them losing their grip on America, the shit that's happening. There will be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. See that? And that's what we were reading in this article here, right? Tolerance for wokeness dies. The left's appetite for violence only grows. You see? People are not going to regard the powers that be, the law. All right. This is why we were reading. Let's go to that article that I said I was going to go back to. Right. This is why this came out in the Charlotte Observer. Violence against judges is on the rise. Proposed protections are needed now. Right. So they're calling for these judges to have protection. You see what I'm saying? How they've been pretty much screwing people over in the court system, man. Right. No matter what it is. All right. Civil court, child support, you know, just the system in general is fucked, man. All right. And people are ready to get it back by blood, man. Right. It's getting real out here. It says violence towards judges and court personnel has skyrocketed. Y'all remember the video? I think it was, where was it at? In I think it was like Vegas or somewhere. I forgot where it was at, where you had the Jake. He did the Superman over the judge's desk, tried to beat that bitch ass. Right? I think they gave him like, I forgot how many years, man. They threw the book at his ass. But that's how people feel right now, man. It says violence towards judges and court personnel have skyrocketed. In 2023, the U.S. Marshal Service investigated 457 threats against federal judges compared to 224 threats in 2022. An alarming increase, man. All right. People are fed up with this shit, man. And rightfully so. Okay. It says that these threats often end in tragedy. State Circuit Court Judge Andrew Wilkinson of Maryland was shot and killed in his driveway by a man who ruled against a divorce case. You see this shit? This is what I'm talking about. The divorce courts, child support, how the system is just ruining men, destroying lives of individuals, man. All right. It says, in Esther Silas, a sitting federal district judge in New Jersey, saw her son killed in a targeted attack at her home. Her son was shot to death when he answered a knock at the front door, man. And these things is happening, man. People ain't playing right now, like we read in the article, man. Right? Again, the keep reminding you, okay, who was going to be the target? Judges, right? Judges will be assassinated. Democrats and moderate Republicans will be jailed on bogus charges. Black churches and synagogues bombed, pedestrians picked off by snipers in city streets, and federal agents threatened with death should they enforce federal law. This is going down out here, man. Okay? You say the scriptures ain't faithful and true. All right. Going back, read a little bit more. All right. So now you see why now you can see the fanning the flames of violence. Now you see it. Right? Let's read a little bit more. All right. It says, although the majority of attacks occur outside the courtroom, often at a residence, the courthouse is not immune. All right. You're going to start seeing people bugging out and running up in them damn courthouses, man. Right? It says a defendant dove over the bench at his sentencing hearing to batter. So let me read that again. It says a defendant dove over the bench at his sentencing hearing to batter Nevada District Court Judge Mary K. Hothus. All right. That was I was talking about with the Jake, where he jumped over. He did the Superman on that hoe. You know, he tried to get her. It says, in just 2 months ago, Kentucky District Judge Kevin Mullins was gunned down in his chambers by a disgruntled deputy. This type of violence is not reserved for judges alone. Prosecutors, clerks, and other court staff have also faced an alarming uptick of threats. Hey, anybody can get it. Everybody go get this work, man. It says, we often hear about the rule of law being under attack. In this instance, the phrase is literal. You see that? Let's go back to the scripture. Let's finish that off. This is prophecy, man. Right? Back in 2nd Ezra chapter 15 in the Good News translation, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 16. Again, it says, there would be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. There would no longer be free access to cities because the struggle for power will bring destruction terror, and total confusion wherever people live. Driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions, right? So you're seeing these people being activated. Remember, the scriptures say that the love of many shall wax cold, man. All right. People are tired of this system. People are tired of being railroaded by these wicked ass laws, right? Let's get that last paragraph in that article, and then we'll move on some more, right? You know, this is judgment, man, for all of those unjust decrees, you know, for all of the bullshit that goes on within Esau's, federal court system. Hey, these judges, these district attorneys, who else? The prosecutors, the clerks, they're all receiving their just due. It is what it is. All right. It says we all benefit when society understands and allocates sufficient resources for judicial security. Judges and court personnel uphold the rule of law. They, along with law enforcement, are on the front lines. When they are not adequately protected, the rule of law is diminished, as we just read, man. People are going to take action in their own hands. They're not going to regard legitimate government. This is what's happening, man. All right. What that devil Klaus Schwab say? We must prepare for a more angrier world. This shit is going down, man. You see, fanning the flames of violence. Right. Here's another article, just want to add on. All right. Let's pull it up. All right. Just to add on. All right. This is from Study Finds. I thought this was funny, too. Just to add on to the point. It says, screws you. It says to avoid post-election fights. Many young adults are skipping the holidays. People still mad as hell over the election, man. And Esau knew that you dumbass Americans was going to be totally divided over this election, man. Damn shame. It says as the dust settles on another contentious election year, many Americans are preparing for family gatherings with one primary goal: avoiding political arguments at all costs. Right? It says a recent survey by the American Psychological Association reveals a telling portrait of post-election exhaustion. More than 7 in 10 adults, 72%, hope to sidestep political discussions during holiday get-togethers. With nearly 2 in 5 people, 38%, saying they will even avoid certain family members to prevent potential conflicts. That's crazy, man. All right. These people are divided by people that don't even matter, man. Okay. No matter who would have won the election, whether it had been Kamala or Trump, whatever. Both of these niggas play for the same team. They both work for the elites anyway, man. This is why you people are dumb as hell, man. Right? It says, I'll read this last paragraph here. It says the study conducted by the Harris Poll between November 25th and 27th, 2024, surveyed over 2,000 U.S. adults and uncovered a deep sense of emotional fatigue following the presidential election. The results highlight a generational divide in how people approach potentially divisive family interactions, right? And this is all the Lord, all right? It's all Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. He's the one that's bringing the division, right? That's Luke, all right? Prophecy is hidden, man. Prophecy is undefeated, just like Elder Apostle Ramlab said, man. All right, Luke 12 and 51. All right, Yahushua divides men. All right, Luke 12 and 49. It says, I come to send fire on the earth, and what will lie if it already be kindled? As we see going around the planet Earth, man, that fire is definitely already kindled. Wars, rumors of wars, violence, chaos, division. All right. But I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how am I straightened? And how am I straightened till it be accomplished? All right. Yahushua had to endure his trial. All right. verse 51, it says, suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth. I tell you, nay, but rather division. This is the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. The Lord is bringing division on the earth, what you call polarization, great divide amongst these people, man. Verse 52, for from henceforth there should be 5 in one house, divided, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. The father should be divided against the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. All right. So this is what we see in here. All right, based off these stats here. All right, people are divided from the election. All right. So hey, the scriptures is true, man. All right, and this is perfect for what we're talking about. Once again, fanning those flames of violence. All right, we ain't got to read the rest of that. All right, but that's the point as you can get. All right, this is Mark chapter 3 and verse 23 in the NLT. It says, Yahushua called them over and responded with the illustration. How can Satan cast out Satan? He asked. A kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. All right, this place is near that collapse. All right. Everything that's been presented in this lesson shows us that we are at that point, very close, man. All right. It says similarly, a family splintered by feuding will fall apart, as we read in that article. And if Satan is divided and fights against himself, how can he stand? He would never survive. And that's how you know that this kingdom is at his bitter end, man. Right? As we always bring out, the writing is on the wall. You see? In this last article here, just to further add into again, okay? So we were dealing with what? This Luigi guy, all right? You know, that killed the healthcare CEO, right? You had judges and prosecutors and clerks under fire, all right? Dealing with threats. And then you have this with Trump. Okay. This came out 2 days ago. This is from the ABC News. It says Trump will use military for deportations up to maximum legal level. You see that? He's about to lose it. Up to maximum legal level, pardons January 6 defendants in first 9 minutes. Right. So he's with this he's with pushing the sedition, man. Right? Let's check out this video. About 4 minutes.
And we have breaking news. President-elect Trump is speaking now after being named Times Person of the Year. Let's listen in.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. This is an honor, a tremendous honor. I brought some of our compatriots along with us. They're going to do a beautiful job for you for the next 4 years. And it's really been something very special. And I have to say, Time Magazine getting this honor for the second time. I think I like it better this time, actually. But we did a good job. We had a great first term, despite a lot of turmoil caused unnecessarily. But the media's tamed down a little bit. They're liking us much better now, I think. If they don't, we'll have to just take them on again, and we don't want to do that. But I do want to thank Time Magazine. I've been on the cover many times. I don't know who has the record, but I can only probably talk well about 25% of the covers. 25% are great. The others I just sort of hide. But it's been an honor, and every time it's an honor, I will tell you. And thank you very much for doing it. And thank the whole group at Time. Really very professional people. Thank you very much. And
right. So I think this is dealing with him being the Time Person of the Year. I don't think it's going into this. Slakia. Right. But let's read real quick. All right. Let's jump down. Bear with me. Let's see if it talks about it. So here we go. So it says, discussing his pledge to oversee mass deportations, Trump said he was willing to use the military to find and deport migrants living in the U.S. without legal permission, right? He's getting rid of the, what's it called? The birthright. I think it's called the birthright law or something like that. You know, so if somebody's married to a so-called illegal immigrant, the whole family got to go. And that's what he's pushing. It says, which will mark a shift as the military doesn't normally engage with domestic law enforcement issues, right? You know, this is all the rounds of martial law. It says when asked what he would do if the military refuses such an order, Trump replied, "I'll only do what the law allows, but I will go up to the maximum level of what the law allows." You see that? So he's coming with the heat. All right. Once again, fanning the flames of violence. Okay, because like I said, you think this is going to be a peaceful exit of these so-called immigrants, migrants, all right, where they have a plan to pretty much run down on millions of people. You know, it says he was also asked about grocery prices, something Trump's cited as a key to his victory over Vice President Kamala Harris. Inflation spiked to a peak of more than 9% during the Biden-Harris administration, but has since cooled to 2.7% as of November. All right, and that's pretty much the article. So the point of it all, you can see what's coming, okay? As we warned you, time in and time out, man. All right, this thing is getting ready to go down, and it's going to be terrible, man. All right, but all we can do is prepare you. All right, we're making these prophecies, the vision plain upon tables, so that you're able to see. All right, so once again, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We see exactly how this thing is getting ready to run down, man. All right, violence, great violence within the land. You know, so that's pretty much the point, man. Pray that you were edified. I'm gonna close it out by giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, and Shalom to the next one. Shalom.